Yes, yes. Good evening, one and all. It's a great pleasure to be with you today, Sunday, March 9th. It's a great pleasure. And with me, I have Brother John, Patrick, and Las Crawford. We 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 do this every Sunday. Every Sunday we gather and we talk about what's happening in Jamaica and other parts of the earth. Last week we had a very interesting discussion. We had a brother man, Lloyd, who shared with us his idea of some changes needed in Jamaica and his experience around the issue of human rights and development. Now, Lloyd is one of those brethren who is active in Kingston and St. Andrews. He's not someone to play with, so to speak. Him know him stuff. Lloyd know him stuff, and he's a man who constantly stand on the side of the poor people of Jamaica. Now, personally, I I reflect on what Lloyd was saying, and some of what he said was very intriguing. I say intriguing because of what's happening in Waterhouse. Welcome, Sister Maxine. Welcome.
Maxine,
Yeah, bless. How's everyone?
And
good
I
to
said
see
because
you.
of what's happening in
Good,
Waterhouse.
good,
Good to
good.
see you. Good to see you.
What's happening here? Something.
We're just glad to see you.
Well, you walk in when we just glad to see you. We started. So before Maxine came, I was saying that what Lloyd said to us last Sunday was intriguing because he talked about community control and what have you. I want to follow up with Lloyd around some of the issues we raised. And I wouldn't mind if we today, the panelists could join me and revisit what Lloyd said last week. Some of what he said last week, what he said, and is it possible, like for example, boycott of the upcoming election? Should we Jamaican think about that? That is something he placed on there. I'm not sure. I want to go deeper into that. But before doing that, first I want to say this. Over the past weeks, we lost two stalwart, two really progressive individuals. And here I'm talking about Valerie Nita,
Oh,
a sister who,
We see him a while ago.
a sister who,
You're breaking up, You're breaking up.
Valerie
You're
Nita.
breaking up.
One to Valerie.
she died.
What?
She passed away. Yeah, Valerie passed away last week. And
Last week or the week before?
Probably the week before.
sometime
The
there.
week before.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
I want, I want to say something. Valerie was a fighter. I met Valerie first. Met Valerie at the Ministry of Housing in the 1970s, and she was there as part of a team, a support team for Anthony Sparley. Young organizer with the Ministry of Housing, the Tony Sparley. And she was very, very influential. Just is a person who stand on the side of justice for poor people in Jamaica. She's known for that. You know, nobody can question that about her. The second individual we lost was Jeffrey Maxwell. Jeffrey Maxwell was a soccer player who
That's right.
came to Waterhouse, and prior to him coming to Waterhouse, we always we always gather over the school, which is now the center, and practice. But we couldn't make no advance because nobody takes practice serious. And Jeffrey Maxwell came into Waterhouse and brought with him a level of professionalism that transformed the Waterhouse football team into a powerhouse who won the National League and what have you. Jeffrey Maxwell brought discipline into Waterhouse, and that is what put Waterhouse club in the position where it is today. And I want to heal the families and friends and comrades of Maxwell, you know. Jeffrey was a true brethren, and I wish we have more like him who come into the ghetto without prejudice in their thinking. Number nights, Jeffrey Maxwell, past 6 o'clock, be on the corner talking football with residents and build the confidence, believe in what he was doing. You understand? So I want to highlight both things. Another important thing is International Woman Day. And I want to heal up Sister Maxine. Sister, happy International, late International, you know?
It's actually Women's Month, March. So you have all month.
Well, it was yesterday.
The day was yesterday.
I'm in a mind that, you know. The day was yesterday, but the activities,
It's for the whole month.
you know, every day. Yeah, I don't mind that. But getting back to Lloyd and his call for a boycott of the upcoming election. And his call is premised on two fronts. One, the PNP and GLP, there's no difference between them. And the second thing is the level of corruption in Jamaica. We need a new way going forward. I'm not sure if him sit down and think this out. I'm not sure as to what it means. But from where I sit, any boycott of the election just now would benefit Andrew Holness and the GLP. And those are the people who want to get rid of. And I said because if Jamaica have to move ahead, we have to get rid of Andrew Holness and his team. Yeah, if right now, this month, as of this month, if Jamaica have to move ahead, we have to get rid of Andrew Holness and his team. You know, in team. That team whereby a set of gangsters just control the state and just grab and flee. And that's going on in Jamaica right now. So I'm not sure how that play into the GLP and I said how that play, I mean the demand, the call by Lloyd that to boycott. I'm not sure. One thing I'm sure about is we're going into an election, yet the people has no voice. They have no voice. Much of what we hear is from the politician. Whether it's Golden, word from Patterson this week, word from other individuals. But the people, the ordinary people who live in the community and suffer the violence, we don't hear them voice as to what they want and how they want them community govern and what they may expect from the politician then. And that is
Stick
what
up,
I'm interested in finding out. You know? So
Mikey,
question I have for the panelists is, yeah,
stick up in. I noticed the comment section like a week ago. I see the same thing happening. Like we're not seeing anybody in the comments as usual.
Well, we just saw. I was wondering about that, but we just saw Montague James. One comment. So I
well,
don't know.
I see someone. Yeah, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. But we know that people are listening. We see 12 devices so far. You know, so we know people are listening. But back on the point that I'm making is that the question from the panelists, because Lloyd raised this, and I want to put it out,
Okay, so people
is
coming in.
boycotting the election, the 2025 election, a good move? Who benefit from boycotting the 2020 the upcoming election? And
Well,
who
for
stand to
me,
gain from it?
right? For me, a simple boycott without. If you're going to boycott, you must have some idea what the boycott is going to achieve. So the boycott, like if you're going to boycott, like what they're saying, certain companies or certain stores in America, you're going to have a boycott because you want the stores to, you want a policy or something to be affected. But in terms of boycotting the election, and then what? You're just leaving it up to the diehard, because the diehards are not going to boycott the election. So that's the first overstanding, that the diehard of the party are not gonna, not,
Maxine, can you hold it for me a minute?
yes, go
Can you
ahead.
hold it for me a minute? Brother Lloyd Degular is joining us. Brother Lloyd,
Yes, good to be here. Sorry, I
yeah,
don't have a video, but I'm sure you can hear me.
yeah, and you can. I hope you can hear us because I just
Tell
raised.
him where the link is. I think his problem is
No,
that.
it's just that I'm having a little technical difficulty with
Oh,
my thing. So
oh, okay.
yeah, but I can hear
Yeah,
you very well.
we just about to talk up, Brother Lloyd. Yeah, well, I'm saying that we're just about to talk about it, discuss your idea of boycott the general
Yes,
election
right.
scheduled for this year. And I
Yes,
pose a question: who benefit? So Maxine was giving her take, and then just we're hurling out. Okay, so listen, brother. Maxine, continue.
Yes, I was saying I wasn't in support of a boycott, um, because for me, I understand the low turnout of the last election. I don't remember how much it was, like 30 something percent or whatever, and that the majority of the people the diehards from both party, are not going to respond to a boycott. So who exactly is the boycott intended to impact? In my mind, it would be like, oh, so it's going to be less of a, voter turnout, but the diehards are going to turn out. So I think people are already boycotting, and would need people to be engaged to let their voices be heard, to either party, in the sense of holding them accountable for their position. I just don't see. I think at one point in our history, a party had boycotted.
The PNP boycotted what 80 or was 83?
Yeah, and I'm not clear that that boycott had achieved anything going forward. So it would be more drilling down on who comes into power. If you know, if it is to support the PNP coming in, because in a sense, you know, again, should it be a person only serves 2 terms? Because at this point, with Andrew Holness, we should be like, oh, you have done your 2 terms, you're out. You know what I mean? And even if it was someone else that has to come up from his party to seek re-election, for the party, it shouldn't be that individual. I don't remember if that has been an issue in the governance of Jamaica, where they were going to limit governance to 2 terms. You know what I mean? Which would be helpful in curtailing certain excesses that might have been occurring. But I don't, in the present situation and dynamics of such a low um, voter turnout, that boycotting is already kind of happening by 60% or more of the people. So what would that, bring forward?
Can I say some? The issue we were discussing from which this boycott arose was the police extrajudicial killings. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around how would this help to lessen or to ensure that the police, act within the law in carrying out their duties. The other point is the last time, as Maxine raised, we had a situation where the PNP boycotted the elections and the GLP basically had free reign to do whatever they wanted to do. Siaga at the time claimed that he appointed independent senators, but that kind of independence that him talk about was really people who him chose not to oppose the things that he wanted to do. So in this time, we see where Andrew Holness government, even with a PNP inside the parliament, inside the house, even with PNP people inside the house, they're trying to manipulate and cut corners and come up with all kind of conman stunts to pass legislations. So a boycott at this time for me would only strengthen the Jamaica Labour Party government and help them to enact all the things that they want to enact and to bypass any oversight, that they could face. So I don't believe, unless Lloyd could show me some of the benefits of a boycott at this time, I don't think a boycott would solve the problems that the country facing.
Lloyd?
Can I? Yeah, okay, fine. So let me just make a few points, right? The first point is that there is no political difference between the PNP and the JLP. Both are two corrupt political parties. that are involved in siphoning off public funds into their pockets and officials and so on. There is no accountability where corruption is concerned. And that's a big issue because 738 million US dollars, or about 5% of GDP, is siphoned off each year. And that money could do a lot in terms of the deficiency in health and education for two things, right? There's a big problem where health and education is concerned. None of them, we, the People's Anti-Corruption Movement, wrote to both political parties, all the members of parliament, saying, listen, we need a People's Commission of Inquiry into state corruption, right? So that we can expose it and bring an end to it. Not one politician, neither the leader of the opposition nor the prime minister responded. None of them is interested in dealing with corruption. None of them is interested in dealing with police brutality. None of them have any solution for health or education. There is landlessness throughout the country, etc., 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 right? There is no political difference between the PNP or the JLP. So whether it's the JLP in power or the PNP in power, it's the same thing, right? And we need to recognize that as a fact. Now, if you had an election, a recent parish council election, and 60% of the people don't vote, and around that figure, people don't vote in general elections either. But there is no political movement associated with the people not voting because the people see the two political parties in the same way in which I am describing. There is absolutely no reason for them to go out and vote for the two political parties because there will be no benefit and no result. So what we need to do is to talk to the people and to say, well, all right, it's not just about not voting. It is to say it is a boycott, and the solution to the problems of the country rests with the people. It rests with the people. They are the ones that will have to solve the problems by making political demands on the system. So we are not saying that by boycotting you're going to solve all the problems. But what you will be doing is building a political movement. And this political movement will begin to expose the two political parties and make the people now realize that if they organize themselves in their community, they build community self-government, they begin to let the government know that we're not going to put up with police extrajudicial killings anymore. We need proper funding of education and health. We need to tax the rich people who are making billions of dollars each year. And every now and again, them give a little charity, give a little dollar here to a little charity, and they get front page exposure. That needs to be exposed, or we need to build a people's movement. So I am not claiming that there's going to be any instant solution by advocating for a boycott. But those of us who are advocating for a boycott will now be able to address the people, will be able to talk to the people, will be able to get the kind of publicity that is needed, and we will be able to make a fundamental critique of the political and economic system that exists. You must remember, historically, Sam Sharp said, I don't want to live as a slave anymore. And so he tried to overthrow slavery. He didn't succeed, but he sent a big message. And within 4 years' time, they had to end slavery. Paul Bogle and the people in Moran Bay said, listen, we don't have no land, and the police abusing us, and they took to the streets, etc. They didn't win that struggle, but Paul Bogle is a national hero. Sam Sharp is a national hero. And we have to recognize that we, the people, we have to make personal sacrifices on behalf of bringing about change in the political and social system, so that we're not going to be snap our finger and there will be a sudden change. What we have to recognize is either we admit that the system is bankrupt, the system is not going anywhere, it's not helping poor people, it is corrupt, it is violent, and etc., etc. And so therefore, we're going to take a principled position. We're going to take a stand, and we're going to say we're not supporting this political system. And by doing that, we will be able to build a people's movement and be able to organize the people. And so we can go out there and we can have protests, placard protests. We can make the government know, whoever it is, if it's only 20 or 30% that vote for them, they have a legitimacy crisis, because it means that 80% or 75% of the people don't vote. That means that cannot be a legitimate government. And it is on that basis that you can begin to build a movement. We need to begin to build a movement amongst the people, and we have to be very clear. There is no difference between the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party. They cuss one another when it's convenient for them, but there is no substantial difference between the two political parties. That is the essence of what I am saying.
Question, Lloyd. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Hold on, lads. Hold on. I disagree with you, Lloyd. That there's no difference between the PNP and the JLP. I disagree with you. I strongly disagree
What
with
is the
you.
difference between them?
Well, the policies over the years, you see the difference. The PNP is more in support of social progress than the JLP. The JLP is dog eat dog under JLP administration. What Michael Manley did between 72 and 76, that's an enormous difference. Michael Manley focused on creating democratic institution, is a vast difference. No other government since Michael Manley have accomplished what he did in that regard, because one of the things that stand out for Michael Manley was the number of people involved in organizations at the community level, giving community groups power, control over them space. That was something real in Michael Manley time. You understand? The GLP not into that. GLP is more in terms of a clique of guys just get together, guys and girls just get together and distribute the wealth. You understand? So that's one difference. You talk about building a movement, my brother. And I ask myself if you are really connect with what's happening on the ground. I talk to people in Jamaica, and they said to me this, that the people are not into the politics, they are into survival. Very few are thinking about political movement just now. Is that correct?
Very few people are thinking about what?
Politics, becoming active in politics.
No, man, that's not true. There's just no third party in this country that is trying to organize the people. There's no alternative movement. The trade union movement is silent, impotent. They're not they're not organizing the working class. The tourism workers, they have to take things into their hands in the hotels and come out and go on strike. You don't hear nothing at all from the trade union movement, etc., etc. So, because you don't hear an organization arguing on behalf of the people. That don't mean that the people not looking for leadership. They are looking for leadership, but we, the ones who could possibly provide that leadership, are doing nothing. And so that it is not about the people, it's about us. It is about we. What are we going to do to help the people? Michael Manley is dead, right? Michael Manley don't exist, and there's no Michael Manley inside the PNP at the present time. And Michael Manley was seriously compromised as well. Michael Manley signed a deal with the IMF that caused economic crisis right throughout the country because he succumbed to the IMF, and he was voted out of office. The PNP was voted. Both GLP and PNP don't serve no more than 2 terms in office. So what is the difference? The people don't really see no fundamental difference. And when they're having elections, them go around and supported by the business class, they go out and drop out at $1,000 here and $1,000 there, and they buy shirts and things for the people. It is is by them by the people to go and vote for them. Most of the people who go out and vote is not because they have any passion for the JLP or the PNP. It's because they're spending millions of dollars to go there and buy the votes. And if you were to take your camera or whatever it is and go there and interview the people on the road, they have no love or care for these two political parties. They just see them the same way. They see them as being corrupt. And we, the people who understand the political contradictions, are the ones who need to begin to articulate an alternative movement to the PNP and the GLP. No difference between them.
Can I say
I
something
have
here?
some question, but before you say anything, last wanted to say something. So let's start with last and come back down.
You're
Yeah.
lying. My problem is this. You are saying that the people should boycott the elections, and that would mean that whichever government is in place has no legitimacy. But the problem for me is that in 1983, when the PNP, I think it was 1983 when the PNP boycotted the elections and the GLP was in power, it wasn't about legitimacy, it was about power, and the GLP had the power to do whatever they wanted to do, right? So if we are saying that this government is exceptionally corrupt, right? They are not going to rule on the basis of whether we give them legitimacy. They are going to be ruling on the power that they have to do whatever they want to do. So I'm saying, how come that would be a good move? Because what it would mean, all the oversight that is coming from the opposition, they would not have to contend with that. They could pass legislations to silence, based on the majority that they would have in the parliament, to silence any kind of oversight body. They could rule against the integrity commission. They could configure Indicom whatever way they wanted to do. They could configure all the parliamentary committees that would be the checks and balances to keep them in check. They could configure the government in whatever way. So how
But let
would
me
that
ask you a
empower,
question.
how
If
would
the
that empower
PNP,
the
hold on,
people?
if the PNP wins, what is the PNP going to do?
If the PNP win, what the
Yeah,
PNP
what are they going to do for the people?
listen how we look at it at this time.
Yeah, what is the PNP going to do for the people?
Here how I look at it at this time. The situations you talk about corruption. If the people don't have a chance to register their disgust with this government at this time, with the level of corruption, right, that is taking place, and to show them that the people are displeased with that, I think it would be a disservice to the entire country.
So PNP is going to solve the corruption problem.
I believe that the history of the PNP has shown that there has been corruption in the PNP, likewise the GLP, right? So on some of the issues, I agree with you that there are similarities in terms of the conduct of both political parties. But to say that because there is corruption on both sides, you're going to say there's no reason to register a protest against this government and try to get them out.
But of course, a boycott is registering a opposition to the government, because you're not
Yes.
voting for the government and you're not voting to the opposition either.
And what
So you're making the point
would
that
be in
political
place?
parties are corrupt. That's the point.
Boycott the election, and what would be in place to defend, to empower the people?
As I said, you begin to build a people's movement so that
You need to build a people's movement before you take such an action. If we don't see a people's movement that is an alternative at this time, why do you think there's going to be a people's movement that is an alternative after the people boycott the election? That's my point.
Of the people. Of corruption, you're boycotting the election, and you're going to capture the imagination of the people, because them say it's July or whatever it is, there's going to be an election. So you can go there and you can stick up your platform, your placards, whatever it is, and you say, don't vote because we want to change the system. And if you go out there and vote, you're going to give power to the JLP or the PNP to continue down the same road. So that is just the beginning of the establishment of an alternative people's movement.
All right, my last question to you, Lloyd. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay. What is stopping your movement? What is stopping your movement or the other social movements from presenting themselves as an alternative at this time? Is the election, boycotting the election, going to make your movement and the other progressive movements more of an alternative to both PNP and JLP? Or do we need to build a movement while we are opposing both parties?
I think you build a movement when you take a position, and the people identify the People's Anti-Corruption Movement with building a movement and opposing the elections. When I go out on the road, based upon my involvement in the Tivoli Gardens massacre, involving being on radio and television interviews, etc., people stop me on the road all the while, and them tell me, say, Lloyd, I'm sorry, I don't see you on TV anymore, I don't see you on radio, and so on and so forth. The middle class, upper class are not going to say that to me. They will give a little bow, but they're not going to talk to me that way. And the reason why I'm making that point is that amongst poor people, working class people, they are ready for a movement to come and organize them and get them together and do what is necessary. As I'm saying, it is building a movement. In order to build a movement, you have to start somewhere. You don't just snap your finger and a movement is built. And let me say, as again, you talk about Michael Manley, 83 in boycott the election. Maybe he knew he couldn't win the election in 1983, and that is why he boycotted it. And then now, in when Siaga term came, they came back in, and it's back and forth between the PNP and the JLP, and none of them have any credibility. We must accept that. they are not solving the problems of the people because they are compromised. And if they are compromised and we understand what needs to be done, then we must go out there and we must talk. We must let the people know that we're not going to put up with police killings. I just sent out something, Mario Dean, 2014. They beat him up in a police station in Montego Bay. And all now, more than 10 years later, they still have not resolved that issue. Nzinga King, they arrested her and cut off her locks in the police lockup. I could go down the road. This woman, Dana Warren, she she just said them kill a man, even though he's a gangster or he's alleged gangster. And she said she supported the people in Spanish Town, locking down the place, etc. And the next thing you know, they arrest her for malicious communication, and she has gone to court 2 times, and the judge denied her bail. For what reason? She never threatened a policeman. All she said is that the place needs to lock down, etc., etc. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. And both political parties support police violence. They support police extrajudicial killings. They don't hesitate, right? And they're into corruption. They don't have a solution for education and health, etc., etc. And we, by boycotting the election, we put those things on the front burner, on the front page, and we begin to talk about it. Because the PNP, as the alternative to JLP, is not going to be talking about those things at all, at all. There are so many members of the PNP who themselves have been accused of corruption. Even I can go into detail, even about Mark Golden himself. People can talk about his wealth, the Trafigura, and all those kind of things that took place in the past. There are people that you could put the spotlight on Mark Golden, just like how you can put the spotlight on Andrew Holness, and other members of those political parties, all kind of issues of corruption. So let's not hedge where that is concerned. We have to be forthright, we have to be bold, and we have to be prepared to stand up. And I don't see no basis for supporting either PNP or JLP. And the best thing, if we don't have no third party, then let's call for a boycott. And we ourselves go out there on the streets, go and meet the people, talk to them, educate them, and try to build a movement going forward.
But the thing is, Patrick, go ahead if you want to go ahead.
Just
Yeah. This discussion seems almost pointless because this back and forth is not really getting us anywhere. One of the things that one has to understand, first of all, is you have to see the facts as they are, right? And that's the only way to deal with it. It's one thing to say that there's no difference between the PNP and the JLP, right? But that in and of itself means nothing when it comes to really talking about moving forward. The fact of the matter is that, first of all, as I've always said, right, politicians can't be leaders. Politicians are rulers, right? They have always been, and it's likely that they'll still be that for many years to come, right? People vote based on the candidates that they see presented before them, if they choose to vote, right? People choose not to vote because they consider elections corrupt, right? But the fact of the matter is that none of that moves us forward. And why it doesn't move us forward is because we have this savior mentality. We tend to believe that, politicians are going to come to save us. Some politician is going to come to save us, right? And it doesn't work that way, right? Yes, a movement has to be built. And in order for a movement to be built, it has nothing to do with elections, right? Because you don't build a movement at the time of election, right? You build a movement, then you become engaged. Because it's from building the movement that you realize that you have to become engaged. You have a personal responsibility in the matter, right? So when you have an election and 30% vote, right? It's the people getting exactly what they bargained for. They choose not to participate, and they get the result of that. They choose to participate, and they get the result of that. That's how it works. There's no avoiding it. It basically is saying to you that the lesson here is that if you really have a concern, right, not only for yourself but for your family, right, and your children coming up, your children's future, and all of that, then it means that you have a personal responsibility in this. That's what got us out of slavery, right? Not that we're completely out, because it's not an overnight situation, and it won't be an overnight situation ending corruption either. So to sit back and say you won't participate because there is corruption doesn't bring an end to corruption.
So voting will bring an end to corruption. Voting for the PNP or the JLP will bring an end to corruption.
I'm saying becoming engaged, right? Meaning that you're gonna really see this thing up, see the whole political movement.
No, I'm just asking you a question. Voting for the PNP or the JLP will bring an end to corruption?
We don't know what it will bring.
Or you don't know?
We don't know what it will bring.
You think it might bring an end to corruption?
We don't know what it will bring. I'm not making no speculation about
people,
one way or the other.
That's why 70% of the people don't vote, because they know say either one can solve corruption.
No, that's not the
people are way ahead of you. You are optimistic and illusion about voting. The people don't know. 70% of the people don't know. So voting is not going to solve the problem. So you are not as politically advanced as the people out there who are not voting.
Lloyd, what I'm saying is this, right? I'm saying that the one responsibility you have is your role in the whole process. That's the one responsibility you have. You can't end corruption. Me can't end corruption.
It's the people that is going to end corruption by you organizing the people, educating them, mobilizing them, organizing them. And they are going to take a stand against corruption.
No.
A stand against the two political parties.
No, but it doesn't work that way.
Oh, you mean it doesn't work that way?
It doesn't work that way.
That is what the people do. Suppose the people decide, say, well, Andrew Holness, we're going to lock down Garden House tomorrow and all on gone. We're going to come inside here tomorrow and we are going to take over the parliament and we are going to run it. Are you trying to tell me that is of no significance?
But when you say you're going to take over Garden House tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Explain that to me.
I'm just saying, theoretically, if the people go and take over Garden House tomorrow, if the people go and take over the Jamaica Defense Force, and then take over the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and them say, all our politicians are corrupt, and uno will have no more power whatsoever, because we are going to run the country.
Patrick, can I say something, Patrick?
Hold on, 1 second. Hold on. Let me say this. Right? Things don't change by you thinking, right? That by saying it's gonna change. It don't change that way. If I say that I'm gonna start a movement, it don't guarantee me. It don't guarantee me that people are gonna listen to me and understand what I'm saying.
And once you have a plan and you carry out that plan, you can bring about change.
And how do you carry out the plan? That's what I'm asking you.
I just told you what the plan is. The
you
plan
go and align with the army, and then the army, as far as I see, the army steps into any situation like it's been described and say there's corruption, blah, 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 and then they take over the government, the general, and some power. I don't know about this whole idea of, as what is being said, that, at the point of an election coming up, you're going to boycott. You have to know what you can't be suggesting these things in this kind of frame. So, what is the power structure of the world? What is the power
So
structure
we're
of
just
government?
repeating in
So,
yourself,
you're going to
vote, vote,
overthrow
vote,
the
vote,
government?
vote. That, I mean,
A
this is
boycott
what
is
it's
not
all
going to
about.
overthrow
Hold
the
on, then,
system.
sorry, but this meeting is just about you must go out there and vote. That's all, and you have no solution other than telling the
No,
people
no,
they
that's
must
not
vote.
what it's
I
about.
mean, this is all that it's about. Go and vote.
No, no, but you
And what
must,
else are
you
you
must,
offering? What else
no,
are you
Excuse
offering?
me.
but what
But
is the
telling the
Excuse
people
me.
framework
they
of
Excuse
must
the
go vote.
government?
Lloyd, you gotta
me.
listen for a minute, you know. You gotta listen for a minute.
But I've
Excuse me,
heard you're
Patrick.
repeating
Patrick.
yourself. The same thing has been
Hello.
repeated over and
Hello.
over
Hello.
and
Lied.
over.
Lied. Hold up. Lied. Hold up. John, let me hear your view and what all of what you hear heard so far. You have to unmute, John. Let me unmute you.
Yeah, Lloyd, we can
Yeah.
walk down the aisle, but this is one time we're not going to get married because I definitely don't agree with what you're saying, and I'll tell you why. You confuse apathy with revolution. When you go on the street today and protest with your movement, how much people come? 10 people? 2 people? 20 people?
So go and vote then.
Hold
Vote
on, no,
because you
hold
are 10
on,
people.
hold
Go
on,
and
hold
vote.
on,
So go
hold
vote
on,
then. So go vote.
hold on, man.
I mean,
Just
you
give me
know,
a chance.
this thing is frustrating
Yeah,
because all
because
you're
we
arguing
don't
for
agree
is
with
for
you,
vote.
Lloyd. We don't agree. We talk. We can.
All right,
You and
just
I
go vote.
agree.
That is what UNO is all about. Go vote, go vote, go vote. I
No,
mean, this
that's
is
not
not
what we
going
are
anywhere.
about. We are about connecting
Voting,
with the
voting,
people.
voting for the PNP or the GLP. That's what it is
Mr.
about.
Chairman, you have to put him on the manners, you know. Him don't come with him face. Him only come with him mouth. But I can't talk.
Yeah, but you just keep repeating what has been
But I don't get a
said
chance
over and
to
over.
talk. I'm making a point.
No, it's
And
frustrating, man. Chuck.
Lied.
yeah, but it's
Lied.
not we must be frustrated with.
Lied.
The people are where they
Lied.
are. Let me make a
Lied.
point, Nito.
Like John, before you make a point, just a minute. Like you're a leader of a movement, so you have to be tolerant and listen to the views of others. Please, I'm asking you, allow the folks to express themselves. All right, continue,
The
John.
problem, yeah, the biggest problem Lloyd have is confusing apathy with the idea that this is a revolution. It's not that the people don't turn out to vote because they want a third party or they bring about radical change. We are agreed that both the PNP and the one thing that the PNP and JP closest on is in regard to corruption and police brutality. There's no question in my mind that is the thing that the two of them is closest on, but that's not the only thing we must judge them with. We have to judge them in regard to my measure of judging the PNP and the JLP is who is more responsive to the needs of the people. Who bring about Jamal and abolish literacy? Who bring about the program?
What literacy? Who abolished
Oh, no, man.
literacy?
Let
Oh,
me
you're talking
talk.
about abolish literacy. Who abolished literacy?
Let me don't talk, man. Let me talk. Me listen to you for the first, how much time we gone? Fifth, nearly 1 hour. And I don't agree with you. We part company on this. Your solution is to brand the two party as the same. And it's not true. If you go on the street with that, what you're saying is you want the JLP to win.
That's
If you
foolishness.
go on the
That's
street,
damn foolishness. That's foolishness. I
let me
couldn't
make
care
my
less
point.
about the GLP or the
Current balance
PNP.
in the
I
house.
am saying the people must
You
organize
are
themselves. But I
an
want the
agent of the
GLP.
Labour Party. If you go on the street and say that the PNP and the JLP is the same, you know why? Because right now the JLP have 49 to how much? 12 or some idiot number. The PNP can't stop no parliamentary decision that the JLP want to make. If you tell people not to vote, you are in effect saying leave the current balance in the house the same. That's what
Okay,
you're
so if
saying.
I did, what's the
Oh,
problem with
yeah,
that?
let me
So
don't
if I
talk.
did,
Let
so
me
if I
don't
did
talk.
to vote for the JLP, what's the difference? What's the
Well, I'm going
difference
to
if I
tell you
vote
now.
for the
I'm going to
JLP?
tell you. I'm going to
Because
tell
you're
you.
a PNP
You're
supporter, because
frustrated.
you're a PNP supporter, so you tell me, say, boy, you're organized for the JLP. And you're trapped into PNP and JLP, so you're challenging me now because me's a JLP supporter.
Put him on
You
the
know, that's
manners.
where you're coming from.
Okay,
That's where you're
like
coming from.
labor right.
You're
Because
defending the
if
People's
allow
National
me to
Party
talk, let me
because
talk.
you're
Hello,
affiliated, associated, and you
hello,
support them.
hello,
That is where you're coming
hello.
from. You're not offering
Well,
nothing.
hello. All right. Well, I am not affiliated with the GLP or PNP. I'm going to try and offer something, and I hope Lloyd listen
Yeah,
to me.
before you offer, I don't get
No,
a
no,
chance
no,
to
no,
make my
no.
point. I
All right,
don't finish my point.
all right.
Right?
Because
I
I need to
really
hear
think
say
this is
something.
important.
Yeah, go
Apathy
ahead, go ahead.
cannot be confused with revolution.
I
The
never said
people,
anything about
hold
apathy.
on
All
a
right,
minute,
Lloyd,
man. Hey, the man just a talk
I don't know
non-stop.
where
Mr.
apathy comes
Chairman,
from.
make the man stop talk, make me talk.
Lloyd. All right, Lloyd. Hold it down, cool it down. Let the brother man. Go
Apathy,
ahead, Jack.
apathy is what make the current House of 49 to 12.
Apathy.
Hold on, don't talk. The people never go out
Yeah,
and
let the
vote.
man say.
When you tell the people don't vote, you're in effect saying let the balance in the country remain favorable, one-sided towards the Labour Party. No, we do not disagree that the JLP and the PNP cannot solve all the problems. The PNP as current cannot solve all the problems of the country. We have no disagreement with that.
So why you voting for
Hold
them?
on, no
They
man.
can't solve the problem. Why you voting for them for?
I
They
make me
can't solve the
talk. I
problem.
Lloyd, let
try.
him
Why
finish.
you voting for them?
Answering
Let
the
him finish.
Why you
question.
voting for them?
Lloyd,
Why you supporting
Lloyd,
them?
let him didn't say that. Let
Right.
him finish what he's saying, Lloyd. Come, John.
Yeah,
Let him
but
finish.
answer my question. Why you
No,
supporting
But
them?
that
They
is
can't
where I'm
we
solve the
going,
problem.
Lloyd. That is where I'm
let
going. There
Lloyd,
is a difference
make
to
him finish
go
the
where
man.
you are going, where you want to go. Two of us will walk together if we understand where the people are at the moment. You curse
But
the
answer
trade
the question.
union.
No, answer the
You
question.
curse the
Answer the
trade
question.
union. You say the trade union man them not do nothing. The community man them not do nothing. When the police come, them not stop them. When the police come and shoot up a community, them not stop them. The Prime Minister just them allege that him thief a whole heap of money. Him not go nowhere and go before no hearing.
So
Nobody
vote
not do
for
nothing
Bolin. So
to
vote
get
for
those
Bolin.
things.
So vote for Mark Bolin. So vote for Mark
Hold
Bolin.
on, no man. Make me don't talk. All I'm saying is the solution to that, this whole crisis is not boycott, is
Vote
building
for
up.
Bolin. Vote
Is
for Mark Bolin because Mark Bolin
Mr.
is going to solve
Chairman,
the problem.
make the
Vote for
man
Mark
don't
Bolin.
talk.
Vote for Mark Bolin, right? Because Mark Bolin is going to solve the problems. That's what you said.
No,
Come
no,
on,
no,
man.
no, no. No, no,
You're
no.
a fan of Mark Bolin. You're
All
a
right,
fan of the
all right, all right,
PNP.
all right, all right.
And you're upset with the
Oi, oi,
PNP.
oi, oi.
Hold on. All right, hold on.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, make him put his speaker, make him put his microphone on silent.
Hold on.
Lloyd, put your microphone
No.
on silent.
Hold on, John.
I
John.
think I'm doing a good job here by challenging nonsense you're talking. That's what
Well,
I'm
you
doing.
don't let me talk. I don't get a chance
Yeah,
to tell
yeah.
you all of my nonsense. I don't get
No,
a
no,
chance.
no.
The
Just a
point.
minute. Just a minute. No, no. No, no, yo. It's time for me to step in. Time for me to step in. I listened long enough to all of it. Nice. It is true, and we agree that PMP and GLP is a problem when it comes to the Jamaican people. And over the years, different organizations, different advocates, different, you name what you want, been putting forward solution and what they think is best for the people and what the people should be doing and what have you. In all of this, John and Lie, in all of the discussion, what is missing is the voice of the people. Many of us, because of our long history in the movement, we think we know what is good and bad for the Jamaican people. I don't think I don't think the thing right now, the task before us as Light claim, is to build a movement. There is a movement. There's a movement taking place, and Bob been saying that for some time now. A movement of your people. The only problem is that we're not connecting with that movement. We get distracted and what have you. And I prefer to hear a discussion about how do we enable the people voice in all of this. The man on the corner, the woman and the community, I want the voice of the people. Because like is saying boycott and others are saying something else. No. But what about the people? What the people are saying? How do
Oh,
we
can
get
I
that?
say something, Mikey?
Because this is what is missing from the discussion. We don't have to get angry and upset. You know, this is what is missing from the discussion. We in on this platform we need to take some responsibility because we at some time gone we talk about having a phone line so people can talk, call in and tell us what they're thinking and what have you. And it's something we should follow up on. But this is what I think is a concern. This is something we should be concerned about. How do we get the voice of the people into the discussion, in the
Well, we
debate?
already. I don't understand how you cut me off, because here is the thing. First of all, I already advocate for many, many months the idea of a people's manifesto. It's not something that is finite. It's something that we want to be. We help to give talking points to different issues facing Jamaica. And one of the problem we have is that there is no such thing at the moment. The only talking point out there is what the JLP and what the PNP offer, and maybe a little bit on the, people like Lloyd have a different viewpoint. But by developing this people's manifesto, we are helping, we are contributing to move the movement from apathy to a more progressive stance. It doesn't guarantee anything. The second point I'm making is that it's fatal to take the position that the two parties are the same. Even if they are the same on corruption, even if they are the same on the police brutality, they are not the same on social issues. They are very different. Not only that, but one is more responsive, one give more opportunity for people, the grassroots people, to become active, because they contain within it people who are leaning in that direction. So I don't agree with the assessment of Lloyd. and especially because of the current balance in the country, in the House, where you're going to have another 4 years of this man. If we are saying him corrupt, no, what going to happen when he come back? With less than 12 in the House, because a boycott means less than 12 people would be in opposition. It's like a green light.
And Mark Bolin is going to solve the problem.
No, you see the solution as day or night. It don't go so.
I'm asking you if Mark Golden is going to solve the problem of corruption. Answer the question now. Is Mark Golden going to solve the problem of corruption?
I said no.
I
said no.
So what are you defending him for then? You're just
I'm
going
not
around
defending
in
him.
circles.
That's not what
You're
I'm
going
defending.
around in circles,
Mr.
man.
Chairman, you need to make the man turn off his mic.
Because you just said, you just made the point that if the JLP elected, then corruption.
No, but it's unreasonable.
So why don't you say Mark Golden is going to continue with corruption?
Lloyd is disrupting our meeting because we can't talk.
We can't take this anymore, man. This thing not going nowhere.
Then Lloyd, you are
can I say something?
If somebody challenge you, then respond to the challenge. Why you can't respond to the challenge?
But I am responding.
You're not responding. You're not responding to the challenge, right?
Yeah, what a man right here.
Responding to the challenge.
Can I respond to that challenge you're putting there, Lloyd? As you put it,
please.
John said it. He said it clearly, right? He said it clearly a moment ago. He said that seemingly there are no differences between the PNP and the JLP when it comes to certain issues like corruption and police brutality. But then he went further and said that when it comes to social issues and certain opportunities to move things forward, right? The PNP is likely to present more of that. Right? It is on that basis that he says that there's something to work with. Listen.
You ask the question,
just listen.
They're more likely to solve social problems.
Listen.
How is that? How are PNP going to solve social problems? Does the PNP support free education? Does the PNP support free healthcare? Do they support land for the landless? Come on, man.
No, it don't play that way. Right? You don't ask the question and then you go around.
No, I'm challenging what you're saying, the logic of what you're saying. There's no logic to what you're saying.
Allow the answer to be heard.
Because we're talking about social issues. What is the PNP's position on free education? What is their position on free healthcare?
Allow the answer to be heard.
What is their position?
Can I say something?
It's that simple.
Hold on, gentlemen. Hold on, gentlemen.
No. You're not going to keep talking and feel like
Patrick, can I say something?
You must listen to us. Right? It don't work that way.
Hold up, gentlemen. Hold up, gentlemen. Gentlemen, hold up. Can we all take a deep breath, please? Because we're getting agitated over stuff which is really not that important.
No, it's important, but
no, I'm saying not important. Let me finish, man. I'm saying important because I just word so. The reality right now is that all of us have our take as to what they think the PNP and GLP should be doing. I'm pretty much sure none of us are members of those organizations. I'm sure about that. I don't know about Lloyd, but from what I gather, most of the people on this panel, are not members of the PNP or GLP. And therefore, we should be allowed, to express oneself, and one need to listen to what is happening and what have you, because when all is said and done, we are Jamaicans. and we're still searching for a solution. That's what we're doing. We're searching for a solution to the problem facing our country right now. Lloyd, you need to listen. I know you feel strong about certain things, but it can't be a situation where you just hold to your position and feel that nobody else should say anything or what, or else they are either for the PNP or GLP. It can't work like that. You know, I'm not a supporter of the PNP or GLP. I'm not. But it's like you just being tactic. You guys are,
The country
Can
is
I say
either
something,
PNP
Michael?
or JLP to lie.
Can
That's
I
the
say
fact
something?
now.
Can I say something, Mikey?
go ahead, bro.
Yeah. First, to Lloyd, I want to say we're all about the same thing. We're on the same side. We're trying to show some direction to our people as to how we can correct certain ills in the Jamaican society. So it's not like we against you or you against whoever. We're just expressing our views as to what we think possible. But my issue with what you are saying, Lloyd, is that you can't put the cart before the horse. If you think that you can break down a system before you have something in place to replace it, it's not solving the problem. We want a system in the country that can replace what the PNP and the GLP is offering at this time, right? Because since independence, both parties have not taken the country very far. But at the same time, we have to face the reality of our situation. And the reality of the situation is that at this time, there is no alternative in the country to both political parties. Your movement is not an alternative at this time. It is presenting an alternative platform, but you cannot take up the challenge, right? If both parties should die tonight, your organization cannot step in and fill that void. And that is a reality that you cannot deny. And as you said, there is no other third movement or party or organization in Jamaica at this time that can fill that void. So the option available to the Jamaican people at this time is that they have to vote for the best of the two parties that can, whichever party can take them a little further along the journey to better. My
You
assessment,
would not have joined Sam Sharp because you said, boy, I don't think you'll be able to overthrow slavery. So me not join you. Right? Me not
okay,
join you. Me go go in
okay,
the plantation, go cut the sugar cane, and you
I
can go out there
appreciate,
and
I
you can't stop
appreciate all
me.
you're
That's,
saying.
that's what your argument is.
I
Right?
appreciate all you're
Right?
saying,
You will
but let me
continue
just
to
finish
be
making my
like a
point.
slave because they love slavery or we can't defeat slavery, so we're gonna be a slave and bow down to the slave master.
Can I
That's
finish?
what you're saying.
Can I finish? Are you finished, Lloyd?
Yeah, well, I just know you're sounding like a slave to the system.
Okay, okay. All right, let me finish. Can you replace both political parties if they should die tonight?
Of course,
Can your organization do it?
all right, if they decide that they're going to resign tomorrow, then the next day the people gonna take over.
Not the people, not the people, because the people not organized by themselves.
Yeah,
Can your organization do it?
if the system resign, it is because they realize that they don't
Can
have the
can
support.
can
Hold on.
what's the name of your what's the name of your organization again?
Ask him how much people
Hold
come
on,
out
John.
to support him on the
resign
street.
tomorrow.
I'm not trying,
Say,
I'm not trying to gang him or anything
You
like that. I
yourself
just want
say,
some
hey,
answer.
last time you come on the show, Lloyd, you said you and a lady was there on the street protesting with placard.
And you do the
You
same thing
people,
like I do, man.
wake up, man. Wake up.
John, calm down. Calm down,
No,
John.
I'm calm. I'm very calm. I just
Amela
talk
lady
loud.
was protesting on what? On what? On what?
Lloyd, I'm asking you a question.
Yeah.
What's the name of your organization?
The People's Anti-Corruption
John, hold
Movement.
on a man. Let the man answer. What's the name of the organization?
People's Anti-Corruption Movement.
Okay, so I am trying to find out from you now. If both parties should decide that them go and relinquish themselves tonight, can your organization step in and fill that void?
I would step into Parliament the next day and make a speech to Jamaica and tell the people what they need to do, etc., etc., etc.
But it's not about speech making, Lloyd. Anybody can make a
So you don't
speech.
make no speech then. So you don't make no speech. So you just be silent. So if PNP and JLP resign tomorrow, you must go in Parliament and make a speech, right?
A speech is not an organization.
No, so Holness make speech and Golding make speech and you listen to him. But if I go
Parties.
there and make a speech, that's foolishness.
Can I
That's
say
what-
something, Lloyd?
Come on, man.
Can I say something?
Come on.
Lie. I think I need to share this with you.
You take this thing too personal, Lloyd.
No. I need to share.
It's
Lie.
the political logic
No,
of what
lie.
you're saying. That's the problem.
No, lie. It's more than that. It's more than that because your argument, the premise.
So he's
from
asking
where
me a
you're
question. If the
No,
PNP and
no.
the
But you're
TLP resign
assuming.
tomorrow, and I said we would go to the Parliament tomorrow and make a speech and tell the people what to do, and he's saying that is foolishness. Come on.
I never use the word foolishness to you, Lloyd.
Lloyd,
I've
you
never.
ask if
That's the
you can
implication of
create,
what you're saying. That is foolishness.
Mr.
Lloyd.
Chairman, we
But
can
you know what
go
the
with,
ambiguity
we
is?
can
You know
use
what the
any
ambiguity is,
number.
like? The
Hold on.
ambiguity is that if the parliament, if there's no parliament tomorrow, there's no parliament for you to go to.
Oh Lord.
That's the ambiguity
Oh,
of
Lord.
it.
If there's no Parliament, then the empty building down on Duke Street, we go down there and we take it over, right? What you mean there's no
Yeah, but
When
Parliament?
you taking over a building
Come
don't
on,
mean
man.
that you have a
Mikey.
parliament.
Come on.
It don't mean you have a
Any
parliament.
question that
If the
begin with
PNP and
if,
JLP leave the Parliament, then what that means that them don't have no more power and they're conceding to the people, and that's why they're leaving.
But it don't automatically mean that you have power.
It don't automatically mean, but we'll go there and address the people. We will talk to the people.
How you
Lie,
get yourself if nobody's
Over.
here?
So we
Hello,
mustn't say
hello.
nothing. We must go hide.
Hello.
We must go
Hello,
hide.
listen.
Go under the bed and hide because it don't make no sense to go down there and talk.
Is it,
Lloyd, the
gentlemen,
reason,
is it
can I make a point, Lloyd? The reason we're trying to build a movement is because it takes organization for run a country and organization for run a movement.
But how do you
And
organize? When you start, you believe how you start. You believe you just sit down and the organization.
If it was just speech making, if it was just about making speech alone, more Golden would run the country.
In 1930, the people have locked down the country. And because they never have their own movement, Michael Norman Manley and Bustamante was go down there and exploit the situation. If the people themselves would stand up and talk and say, well, we are the one who go do it, then Manley and Bustamante would have no place whatsoever. But they exploited it. So what you telling me is that the people have never have no power? If the people didn't have power, Norman Manley and Bustamante would have to go go about them business. All right, the people had power, implicit power. That's what they had. So you are trying to tell me that if them lock down the country, them don't have no power. Come on.
Let me say something, though. Let me say something. First, I think we should realize that those of us on this panel, we are not just novice. We have experience doing the type of work that we are involved in. That's number one. So we are talking from a foundational knowledge rooted in works that we have engaged in Kingston and other parts of the country. Now, you keep on saying build a movement, build a movement, build a movement, and what have you. And it seems like you have some exposure, some revolutionary theory or what have you, you know. But there's a cardinal rule in when it comes to organizing the people and moving the people, and that is listen to what the people are saying. All of what I've heard so far is what you think, Lloyd. And I need to, if we're going to move ahead, we need to find out what the people must say, what exactly the people want.
70% of the people that don't vote. How do you interpret that? How do you interpret that? I mean, that means nothing to you that the people them say me now vote for PNP and JLP. Is that inconsequential to you? That when you're going to go there and do a polling amongst the people, that doesn't speak volumes to you. I don't understand. You don't know what the people them are saying. Well, I live amongst the people. I live here and I am in contact with the people morning, noon, and night, and I know what the people are saying. Okay, and if
you're in contact with 70%,
and 70% of the people them don't vote, then they have no love for PNP and JLP. So why can't we draw some conclusions from that? Why is it that we have to just leave that
here's
alone?
the conclusion I'm trying to draw. Do you have the 70%? Do you have the 70%?
Come on, man. All right, 60%, whatever it is. Come on. The majority of the people don't vote. Then don't vote.
Don't trivialize the matter. Don't trivialize the matter. Because that's what you're doing. When you're talking about 70% never vote and we are taking it for granted, that's certainly not something to be taken for granted.
But the problem is that...
So why are you challenging me then for? So why am I being challenged?
Are you
challenging me?
Is that 70% organized, Lloyd?
We are trying to organize 70% that is not organized. That's what we're trying to do.
You're trying to do it. How much of the 70% have you organized already?
Some shop go upon them horse and him ride from plantation to plantation to plantation.
In other words,
tell the slaves, so we're not going to live like slaves anymore. And on Christmas Eve, we're going to lock down the place, right?
How much of the 70% you have organized at this time?
Let's look at some shop. What some shop did. Some shop took him horse and he ride from plantation to plantation and organize the slaves. Right? So that when the date come and the time come, they are going to challenge slavery.
So are you going from parish to parish and organizing the 70%?
Am I going to do what?
Are you going from parish to parish and organizing the 70%?
Yes, I'm going to go from parish to parish.
How much of that 70% have you organized already?
I'm going to ride my horse and go from parish to parish and organize the 70%.
How much of that 70% you have organized already?
No clue whatsoever as to how organizations operate and how they get to people and understand. You have no clue whatsoever.
What he's saying, Lass, is that it is something to be done.
What you're trying to do is
dismiss what it is that I'm saying,
the logic of my politics. You're trying to dismiss it as illogical, foolish, nonsense, and all that kind of stuff. That's what you're doing.
We're not doing any such thing. We just we are arguing.
All right. Last. Hold on, gentlemen. I think we are saying the same thing in different ways. And I want to suggest that I want to challenge Lloyd to something. Let us start an open mic series, Lloyd, you on our platform, and we open up the line to folks to call in. We can start with Waterhouse or start with Waltham or whatever. Residents from those communities to call in and tell us what are some of the things that they would like to see happening in their communities. Let we hear from the people directly. Is that something you would be interested in line?
You mean no or in the future?
And if going forward, open mic series with
And
residents.
if I can add to that, Mikey, if I can add to that, particularly some of the constituents from some of Lloyd's own constituents to call in.
Yes. Open up the mic, open mic series, and we hear from Jamaican people. You know, we can start small Waterhouse or whatever, but an open mic series. Now people calling us Sunday evening and talk about the issues that is of concern to them. And I suggest this now because we veterans, we think we have the answer for everything. You know, and some of us have the experience where we were involved in our time gone where some guys and some girls come amongst us and say they know what's up. And then eventually the role model disappeared. There was no more revolutionary movement. You know, so it is something you would think about, Lloyd?
Yeah, sure.
A Sunday evening thing.
Okay, good. We can work on it.
John?
I hear you.
I don't hear your feedback yet.
I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure, is that a change in our format?
No, but it's an open mic, part of open mic.
Yeah, a long time you can do that. It's a long time we talk about that.
All right, so you're on board. Patrick, I guess you're on board also. Last, Maxine, because all of the revolutionary have struggled to prove who has the right solution. Maxine.
No, well, that's not it. That's not it. If that's what you take away from it, that's not it. Because nobody is saying here that they have the solution. And that's the whole point.
Nobody's saying, I'm saying we have a solution.
That's the adolescent thing.
Say you and
that's the adolescent. That's the adolescent thing. To think that you have
I am offering a solution to the problem.
It shows
accept my solution.
A lot of experience.
You don't accept it, but I am offering a solution. You're not offering any solution. The only solution you're offering is go and vote. Don't boycott, vote, and that will solve the problem. And that's going to solve nothing. Absolutely nothing is that going to solve.
No, but the first question we asked you was what you hope to achieve from a boycott.
But I told you already. Your
response
was to undermine.
Your own response was that you don't expect anything to come of it.
People's movement, and we will take the next steps 1, 2, 3, 4 down the road. If we don't do nothing, we just go vote for PNP or GLP. That is going to do nothing. That is going to have no impact on the people whatsoever. So I have already told you, we are trying to build a movement, organize the people, educate the people, and expose the two corrupt political parties. So you're trying to tell me that's of no significance, right? That's what you're trying to say.
Lad, if one wants to get information about that movement, where can they locate it?
You mean people anti-corruption? You're in contact with me. I can, I am there. If you want to join it, you can join it. You can work it out.
We have a group. We have a website, a group. Any information?
We have a WhatsApp group, and we are on WhatsApp.
What is it called? What is it called? Name again?
The People's Anti-Corruption Movement.
Okay.
People's Anti-Corruption Movement.
You want to tell us a little bit more about that movement, where you meet and people can come to meetings and
We have
take
public
part
meetings.
in
We have public meetings, and we do most of our communication on WhatsApp through that. And from time to time, when it's convenient, we get together. We're planning to have a public meeting sometime this month because we want to address the very same issues that we're talking about here. We have had meetings in the past that deal with corruption, that deal with Jamaica's support for the genocide taking place in Israel, police brutality, etc., etc. We try to do that. The Star, I think, has sent around. The Star attended one of our thing, and there's a picture of me on it saying anti-corruption group is calling for a boycott of the election, and that was a big picture in the Star. I can send it to you all, etc. I am known as a human rights activist and so on, right? I've been interviewed on television stations, etc., etc. I used to have my own radio program, 2 or 3 radio programs that I used to work with, right? And I'm now trying to go back online again to do an online program because it looks like the radio station, them don't want to have me on anymore. But that's understandable. And, we can communicate going down the road. It's no problem.
What communities you work with?
What community I work with?
Yeah.
I work with
Is that
any
interview
community,
this
any community
I
that
understand the line of questioning.
it's possible to work
No.
with.
I asked you in terms of what I shouldn't say him, but if what I want to find out if the movement work with different communities.
Yes, of course. We work with August Stone. We work with Tivoli Gardens. We wherever as an issue is arising, we have interaction with the people, and we try to do what is necessary.
Okay. So you're active in the community then.
Yes.
Gentlemen, any further question? We hear it, we know. What more we need to know?
And the program.
Well, Lloyd, I want again thank you, my brother. Regardless of how heated things get, just bear in mind we're still
Jacob Maxine.
Politics, Lloyd.
Jacob.
We're not banning you.
I'm glad to hear that.
So you're among folks who are very passionate, very strong about their views because of their own experience within the movement, So you have to bear with us. Maxine.
And you have to bear with me too.
All right.
The two-way thing live.
Maxine, it must be interesting to sit amongst the lines and your lines go at each other's throat.
Yes, I'd like to know if Lloyd knows anybody up at JDF in his organization.
Must be an
You
experience.
say, man, do a coup. You're not suggesting that.
That's a good
When you
one.
met the man them come to lie, When you met the man them go to lie,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
When the men
I will pause.
when
I
the
will pause
progressive
to
men get
respond to
together.
that question. I will pause, okay?
See, Andrew know how to track people in him. You remember him saying, tell you.
All right.
Listen, sir, thank you all, my brother, man. Thank you all, sister. Thank you, my sister.
When you come off the live, I have a question. When you shut down live, can everybody wait behind for 1 minute?
All right, so we're gonna shut down live there, Dan, and we'll do it all over next week. Live, we're gonna see you next Sunday.
Okay,
All right.
all right. All the best. Okay, take care. All the
Cool.
best.
Blessings, Lloyd. Blessings.
Blessings.